17 people in total putting this on today. And that's not to mention all the folks at home that were likewise supporting us. So it's a lot of work and a lot of energy, but the team here is so passionate about elevating the stature of women, it made it all worth it. So formidable, and they represented the United States and Republican conservative women from every aspect, whether it was Congress. For the inaugural event for Her New View. And we thank the team from Palladian View, Her New View, the Palladian Group for all coming together to make today such an exciting time. This month I turned 50, and in doing so, it was very clear to me that we have an absolute responsibility to those young women that are coming up, the next generation. And this is a time for us to commit to helping them by showing them that they can be and do anything. So to set the stage tonight, you'll see 5 formidable women, each of the panelists who have ascended despite some pretty harsh spotlight. And each of these women in their own right have ascended because they are talented, because they are bright, and because they are very, very smart. And so we'll begin as we introduce our guest tonight. I'll say again to you that conservative Republican women are not stupid. We didn't start the fire, ladies and gentlemen. So join with me as we introduce our panelists today. We first have best-selling author Katie Pavlich. Katie is the youngest of our panelists tonight, yet she boasts the ripe age of 24, being a New York Times bestseller, editor of Town Hall, and she broke the Fast and Furious scandal. Next, we have Representative Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. She is co-chair of Women for Mitt, 5-term representative from Tennessee 7th, and she and her husband have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin, Rebecca Kleefisch, first Lieutenant Governor to face and beat a recall election, former television anchor, and coined a Mama Grizzly. She is a survivor of cancer, all during the time that she's been in office. Renee Elmers of North Carolina, representative from North Carolina, works as a nurse practitioner running a business for 12 years. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, Dana Loesch. She and her husband Chris live in St. Louis with their 2 sons. She's a recipient of Accuracy in Media's 2012 Grassroots Journalism Award. Her mentor was Andrew Breitbart. Ladies, thank you so much. I'm going to let you grab the mic so that each of you are ready, and we're going to begin with my friend Katie Pavlich. I will be very candid with you. These clips were hard to select because, as I said originally, there were thousands that we had to peruse. And so what we tried to do was quantify the clips according to almost subject matter. Katie, because she is the youngest, we thought it would be interesting to juxtapose with both the first woman Republican vice presidential candidate of the United States and the first woman presidential candidate. Because Katie is the youngest, when you see news clips like you're about to see of flag bearers, women that have led the Republican Party, and you see women like Michelle Bachmann, who has an impressive resume, an established presidential candidate, a congresswoman, lawyer, and mother, and yet she is still ridiculed. Watch this clip, and then I'm going to let you respond.
It's not because they have breasts, it's because they are boobs.
This is typical of the left to assault women who have been very successful. Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann. Because why? they're successful. The left hates success, and the reason they vilify women like this is because they're a threat to their 30-year lockdown on the women's vote and treating women like victims. People like Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin aren't victims, and they serve as role models for young women like myself.
And then we're going to switch and show you what SC Cupp says. So let's see the first clip.
But you know what is sexist? Ignoring poor Tim Pawlenty just because he's not pretty. He was a governor who finished his term. Why doesn't he get the cover of Newsweek like Sarah got this week? And this cover she got a few months ago. The short shorts are a metaphor for an era of economic limits. And this one about the Second Amendment, and this one about the separation of church and state.
First of all, I'm grateful I've had the opportunity to be out there and to chart some of those paths and to break through some of those barriers so that my daughter does not have to go through those barriers. And I have to tell you, too, every time I hear a little bit of that, I think about my constituent Dolly Parton, who, when someone tries to diminish her business acumen and talk about her being a dumb blind, she says, "I'm not dumb and I'm not blind."
So the question is pretty simple. Why does the media not consider being a stay-at-home mom a career, and how does that affect a woman later? And we'll lead with this clip.
Guess what? His wife has actually never worked a day in her life. She's never really dealt with the kinds of economic...
I don't know how many people in this room have stayed at home with their kids. I don't know how many on this panel have stayed at home with their kids, but women make 90% of the consumer household decisions in America, and women deserve some respect.
There you go. Let's watch this clip together, because I think it's very telling about this double standard that happens to women. And of course, the one that we most think of is Governor Palin.
Business is that of his, none. If she's a good mother, that's her and her family's business, and if she's not a good mother, that's her and her family's business.
So you don't think those questions would be asked of a father?
Of course they. Who has asked whether Barack Obama will be a good father to his 10 and 7-year-old if he gets to be the president of the United States? No one. And by the way, he has a working wife.
We have noticed, Marsha, while being in Congress, serving as conservative Republican women, we know that we're still doing all of those same jobs that we did when we were at home, only we're doing it from Washington now. And I think that's the most important issue here. We are able to multitask like no one's business. We can do it all.
Dana Loesch, last but certainly not least, I love listening to this woman. You've managed a family and a career. You started as a mommy blogger before finding a male mentor that really bridged a great goal for you, and I know you've done tremendous things. I'm not certain if you're familiar with this phrase, conservative woman derangement syndrome. But let's take a look at 2 clips and see if you agree and what thoughts you might have for the next generation.
What we're witnessing is another edition of conservative woman derangement syndrome. We saw this go on with Governor Palin, and now we're seeing it with Michelle Bachmann. Why? Because you have very strong, articulate, conservative women who actually walk the walk, Laura. They put their money where their mouth is.
This is all about losing control of a demographic, and they're going to vilify anything that threatens that interest. That's what this is all about. But you know, and I welcome it. I look at it as a badge of courage and honor when these people go and attack conservative women.
As you can see by these incredible women, and I say that not lightly, the higher you go, the more intense the spotlight. At every junction in your life as a political person, there will be negatives thrown at you. If you're young, they'll call you incompetent. When you're beautiful or attractive, you'll be called either promiscuous or unintelligent. When you're a mom, you'll be unskilled and inexperienced. When you have a career, you will have neglected your family. And ladies and gentlemen, the list is exhaustive. It is part of this conservative women derangement syndrome, and I think it's important for us to understand it for what it is. If there is one woman that embodies the strength of overcoming insurmountable odds, it is Governor Nikki Haley. Let's watch a couple of clips, and then we have a surprise.
South Carolina Republican State Senator Jake Knotts. This guy's a dandy, let me tell you. He went on a local radio show yesterday and used racial slurs against President Obama and a South Carolina Republican gubernatorial candidate who was raised in the Sikh religion. Now, the radio show is not going to release the audio saying that it's not reflective of their program's goals, but here's what the guy said, quote, "We already got one raghead in the White House, and we don't need a raghead in the governor's mansion."
Michelle, I'm sure you've seen this video. We played it yesterday. We've got it again. It's of a South Carolina labor leader hitting a piñata with I believe that's a baseball bat. It's got Nikki Haley's face on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome onto her new view, Governor of the great state of South Carolina, the youngest governor of the United States of America, the first Indian woman governor, and a proud mother of two, married to a member of our armed services, Governor Nikki Haley.
You just have to have that message, and you just have to know that no matter how hard it gets, you're going to fight through it anyway. And so, you know, a lot of that is that we just can't second guess. But if you don't do it, then who will? And so there is a place for all of us. And there is a place where we can go and make a difference. And the only person holding us back is ourselves. So like I said, if you don't have 3 war stories, you've got some great living to do. If you do have 3 war stories, go out and get some more, because what I hope you will do is help someone skip 2 steps that you had to go through so that they don't have to do that, because a lot of women helped me along the way. And just know that we're pulling for you. And when we see you out there making a difference, whether it's in business or whether it's in politics or anything else, the way you make women proud is just do it right. Do it respectfully, do it with grace, and then you do make everybody proud. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, just join me as we thank all of these incredible women as we move forward and bring up the next generation of women. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I would be flattered if I was asked to do something like this again, because it's so important for other women to hear that they are not alone, that there are wonderful voices of conservative women in a network, a patchwork quilt all across this country.
Women are not represented. We haven't been out there. We haven't got into the positions that we should be. And here it's like, yes, we need to have them out there. And yes, we need their voice. We need their perspective.
Just excited for this. Excitement's building. I just hope that women learn to not take that, learn to fight back when these kinds of things happen.
I feel like they have such a positive message. They're women, they're young women, and they have these great positions of leadership.